Hello, hello. We are back. We are live. We are back after the great tea flood 2020 or 2021. How is everybody tonight? Wow, there's 20 people in here already. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Hello, hello, hello. Everybody there? Am I coming through good? Is the camera working good? Brand new laptop. I'm figuring it all out. How am I sounding, guys? How's everything going? Oh, and let me show you my brilliant idea to make sure that I do not mess up another laptop. Check it out. I pulled another table right beside, because what happened last time was, you see this cloth? When I stood up to go get my power cable, that's how I ended up wrecking my computer. It's like I hit this cloth somehow, like I just bumped it, and look how loose that is. So yeah, I spilled everything, and it was a mess. That laptop's ruined. But now I have this desk right here. My drink is right there. So if it spills, it won't get on my computer. Brilliant. How is everybody tonight? Whoa, there's already 100 people in here. Holy cow. No sippy cup. No, I didn't keep the sippy cup. ZGG, wait a minute. ZGG is slow mode. Does slow mode not apply to mod? I don't believe it does. We are live from Brian, the little good doctor. Hi from California. Hi, Brian. Hello from West Virginia. The cam quality is a little blurry, but not bad. Okay, how am I coming through, guys? How am I coming through? Is the picture good? Is my voice coming through good? This is my first time using this laptop's camera. I haven't used it before. How do I sound? Hello, hello, hello. You like the thumbnail? Thanks. Is the thumbnail a little blown up? It looks like it's like super zoomed in. David, hi from Ireland. Hi from West Virginia. Fox Starline, how you doing, Sam? Can't wait for our podcast. Okay, well, we will talk soon about that, man. Sorry, but I mean to get back to you. Christine, hi from New Jersey. Everything is coming through great. That's good. Christine, my brother is actually not too far from you. He's actually working in New Jersey. Kyle, picture and sound are good. Gee, lol, I didn't think that you would read my message. Oh, haha. Tyler, hello from Australia. Whoa, holy 2 super chats, amazing. Jonathan, you're good. Thank you so much. You're the only guy that like donated a lot last week. Jonathan, you're amazing. 50 from Jonathan. The prodigal son returns. My condolences to the MacBook, Sam. Thank you. And thank you so much for the super chat. Holy cow. Dude, that's amazing. Thank you. Anton, 5, thank you. Hiya, I'm from Liverpool. What involvement does Liverpool have with the Titanic? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Liverpool was the Titanic's home port, or that was where the Titanic was registered to. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I figured Liverpool was just like, you know how ships today, like the Disney Dream, is it's registered to like the Disney ships sail out of Port Canaveral, but their home port is the Bahamas. I figured Liverpool was like that. I haven't actually researched it. That's just a guess, but I believe that's what it was. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. Let's see. Those blue glasses were pretty cool. Thanks, man. You know, those sunglasses were polarized, and I got them for $30 on Amazon. A heck of a deal. I had no idea, Sam. I hadn't seen you in a long time. I hadn't seen you in a long time, too. Welcome back. Everybody, welcome. I had no idea back to the live stream. I haven't seen her in a while. I'm going to tag her. Hang on. I'm going to tag her username in the chat. Everybody say welcome back to her. Boom. There you go. Everybody, welcome. I had no idea back to the live stream. Normal, true, but Liverpool was also where the Titanic's equipment got manufactured. I did not know that. I did not know that. Player, hello from Florida. Hi, player. Hello, hello. Up to, where is Rosie? In the back room, asleep. Matt, hi from California. Master Badger, hi. Whoa, another super chat from CB Punk 20. Thank you so much, man. Hey, Sam, you should, okay. Hey, Sam, you should check out the SS Neuronic. I believe it's known as the only White Star Line ghost ship, and it disappeared at sea less than a year after its maiden voyage. I feel like I have heard of that, but all right, I want to do some research into that. That would be a good video after the whole Titanic series is done. Let's save that into my notes. Thank you, iCloud. Thanks to iCloud, I did not lose any data when my laptop experienced the great tea spill of 2021. Boom. Okay, I've got it. Thank you so much. Just so you all know, all 16 watertight compartments in my laptop were compromised. Gaming, is Rachel coming to the stream? Nah, she's not here right now. She's in Ohio. The cutting room floor, 5. Thanks so much. Hey, Sam, you inspire me to revamp my channel. I'm almost at 60 subs. Thanks to your entertainment and nods. That's awesome, cutting room floor. Excuse me. Post a link in the comment section for this video because I want to check out your channel. I cannot pronounce your name, but I want to read this comment. Goodman? Saul Goodman. Hey, man, I'm a huge fan of your content. First time catching you live. Awesome. I love the Titanic ever since I was a kid. Your videos helped me rediscover my passion for it. That is amazing. Thanks so much, man. Saul Goodman, or Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul. And Breaking Bad. I love those shows. Yeah, Ohio. Cleveland rocks. Cleveland does rock. Cleveland, Ohio. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's got the Jacobs Pavilion, right? The Jacobs Pavilion's in Cleveland, Ohio. I saw Lindsey Sterling there a few years ago. Ian, how are ghost ships able to float unmanned? Well, a ship can float without people on board. It just, you don't have a crew to run it. A ghost ship is a vessel at sea without a crew, like the Mary Celeste. Dylan, hello from Long Island, New York. I wanna be a part of it. New York, New York. I love New York. Let's see. The 125 biker. Hey, dude, love your content. Need more channels like you with true passion for what they post. Thanks, man. I do have a passion for all this, and honestly, it means a lot that you guys are just here to, enjoy the ride. It means a lot to me that there's so many people like all of you that are so passionate for this stuff. And yeah, just, I don't know. This whole journey has been absolutely incredible. And like last week when my laptop got fried, I mean, the support that I got, all the comments and suggestions, like in the picture with the rice, it was incredible. But $600 it would have cost $600 to fix that laptop. I mean, super sad. Let's see. Rebel, Historic Travels. Hi, Sam. I've been learning about the Titanic for a few years now, and your content has taught me a lot. Thank you so much. Bobby, what is your day job? Honestly, right now, Bobby, I have been dedicating all of my time to YouTube. I worked on a copper mine before COVID hit, and during COVID, I worked on the mine. And then once my project finished, they were going to send me to another project, and then everything got shut down when the world shut down. So, I've just been I thought I'd try working for myself and seeing if I could do YouTube for a bit, since nowhere around me was like, there weren't any really good jobs or hiring where I am. So, YouTube's been my job, and right now I've been doing okay. Let's see. Anton, 4, McDonald's or KFC? Oh, KFC. McDonald's, okay. McDonald's is okay in a pinch. But their chicken nuggets are good. Their cheeseburgers I'm not crazy about. But KFC was my favorite restaurant. I worked in a town called Safford in Arizona, very small town. That's when I was on the mine. There was like 10,000 people there. And there was this day when I spent like 14 hours on the mine. I mean, I was there around 4 a.m, and I think I left at like 6 or 7 in the evening. It was a crazy long day. And I went to KFC because I wanted a chicken sandwich, okay? I wanted to get the chicken sandwich and go back to my apartment. They were out of chicken. How is a KFC out of chicken? How is a KFC out of chicken? Explain that to me, please. Thanks for the super chat. The History Kid, how long until part 5 of the Titanic sinking? I actually started it today. Depends on how quickly I get through the video. Probably it'll either, if I get it done on time tomorrow, I'll release it tomorrow. If it still takes me a little longer, I'll release it Tuesday. Tuesday and Fridays are my go-to upload days. But if I get if I can pull a rabbit out of the hat and get it done early, then Titanic lover. Hi Sam, nice thumbnail. I thought you guys might like it. That's a good picture. Ben, what is the most random fact you know about the Titanic? Okay, I do know this one. So everybody knows that the 4th funnel on the Titanic was fake, all right? And but that wasn't something that they advertised to the passengers. The passengers didn't know that unless they were really paying close attention. Anyway, one of the, I don't know, I think it was a man in the boiler rooms, but somebody who worked inside the Titanic actually decided to climb up onto the 1st funnel and peek over the side and like take a look around outside, because you could do that. The 4th funnel, while it was fake, it was full of ventilation ducts. had a bunch of ladders, so you could climb right to the tip of the fourth funnel. Anyway, one of the engineers or one of the guys in the boiler room climbed up the ladder and like peeked over the side, and he was covered in coal dust. So, I mean, he's like pitch black and all that. And anyway, a passenger, a female passenger looked up and saw him up there and thought a monster was possessing the Titanic. They're like, it's some kind of monster inside the fourth funnel. So how's that for a random fact? Raj, can you get the THG ship models anymore? Because when I go to their website, the models aren't there. Really? They're not there? I'd have to take a look. I checked it a few days ago and they were still there. But I'd have to take a look. Gaming with Leo, Historic Travels. I have a picture of President John F. Kennedy in the Titanic in my room. That's awesome. John F. Kennedy, as I've said before, is one of the best presidents in our nation's history. I mean, honestly, what happened with him during, oh gosh. I'll tell you, what some people have to deal with during presidency is absolutely unbelievable. Let's see. Tony, hello. Malia? I hope I say that right. Thank God I thought the streams of Titanic was over. Keep it up. Oh yeah, we're back up. Listen, I busted it out to find this. It all worked out. The MacBook that I'm on right now, I actually met a guy on Facebook Marketplace, and he gave me a super good deal on it. So, hey man, if you're watching, thank you so much for the video. So that's what I'm using. It all worked out as good as could be during all the nightmare stuff of the Great Tea Flood. Let's see. Western, what is your favorite White Star Line ship? Titanic. Linus, I tuned in again. Hi, Linus. Welcome back. Oh, yeah, I remember you. You're the guy who I asked if you were related to Linus Tech Tips. Ori, welcome to the stream. Master, next month I'm getting my first Next time I'm getting my first Titanic Honor and Glory model. It's Lusitania. Oh, are you actually getting it? Like they tell you that it was coming in? Space Soda, Titanic Belfast is amazing. As soon as the world opens up and I can travel, I'm going to go visit Belfast. Yeah, and guys, in case you're new here and you didn't see my amazing plan to avoid tea spills, look, I added a desk. So I have like tea stuff there, so now no tea will spill. Graham, hey Sam, what is your favorite modern ship and why? I mean, if you want to say what are my favorite ships that I've been on, the Disney ships, the Disney Dream and Disney Fantasy are beautiful. I like some of the Norwegian Cruise Line ships. I'm not crazy about the Oasis class ships. I want to sail on the Oasis class. I think they'll be really interesting and really cool to sail on. I'm just not a fan of how they're built. Like the way the ships look, I'm not a big fan of. But I mean, they're so massive. I mean, I get it. But I like the more traditional look. You know, that's kind of why I like the Disney ships a little bit more, is they still keep the traditional ocean liner look. So, Ben, what kind of tea are you drinking? Lipton. Tyson, do you think if the Britannic hit an iceberg, do you think it would have survived or sunk? Depends on how it hit. But if my bet is it would have stayed afloat because the porthole windows would have been shut. Elise, I'm here, baby. Welcome. Thanks for the 2, Elise. Thank you. All of you guys are awesome tonight. Thank you all for the great questions. Titanic lover. Yeah, the Oasis class looks like a tub. I wouldn't say that. I'd say the Oasis class, they look more like honestly, they look kind of like a floating shopping mall. It's kind of what I think. I mean, they're good. They're good ships. You know, they're well built. It's just, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they have they've got a Central Park, they've got a boardwalk, and they legit have a shopping mall on board. But I've never been on them. I've seen a ton of videos on it, so. Floating hotel barge, Joseph. Yeah. Elemental Gaming. Sam, have you ever heard of the Mary Celeste ghost ship? Have you ever heard of the Mary Celeste? Yes, I have. I actually mentioned it earlier. I'm going to do a video on it. Antoine, what White Star Line ship hasn't sank? The Nomadic. What about the Olympic? The Olympic didn't sink. And a lot of the Oceanic class didn't sink. Ships, a lot of White Star Line ships didn't sink. Gail, oh no, I missed the start. Hello, Sam. Hi, Gail. Welcome to the stream. I'm actually working on a brand new, I'm actually working on a new set for my live stream. So it's going to be a little bit more official, and I'm working on getting some props and stuff like that. I was actually working on that right when you guys called. I purchased a desk that I'm going to use for a dedicated set just for my live streams. I'm actually working on that right now. It's kind of a train wreck up there right now, but if you guys would like to see what I've done so far, I could show you maybe. I had no idea. What happened to the railings on the Titanic? I believe most of them are still there. They're just eroding over time. 3207. Will you ever do a video on the Empress of Ireland or the coast of Concordia? Yes, I will. I did that in my community question. I did a community question thing. And yes, I am going to get to it as soon as I'm done with the Titanic thing. I think we need to make an adjustment real quick. Guys, pardon me for 1 second. I'm going to increase the time for the slow chat because there's a ton of people in here and I can't read the chats on time. So because the chats are flying by. Tyson, can you do a video on if the Titanic never sunk? That would be a very good video. That would be a great video. Do a video on the idea if the Titanic never sunk. Like talk about all the changes in history, you know, the events that led up to the Titanic, you know, stuff like that. That would be very, very interesting. Ori Paynham, careful with language. But yeah, maybe we could do a video like that. I'm Alex. Hey, hi, Alex. Cad, did you know the Titanic 2 is sailing in 2022 on April 10th in Southampton? I'm very skeptical about that. I'm very skeptical if there will be a Titanic 2 sailing from Southampton, but we'll see. I've talked about that in great detail before. Reborn, when do you predict the Titanic will disappear forever? Honestly, probably in the next 50 years or so, you know? I'd say probably within the next, I'd say the Titanic is going to rapidly begin to decay over time. You know, it's just slowly going to start breaking down and everything. And I'd say we'll lose more of the ship. I think that the first thing to go will be like the officers' quarters and stuff because it's a more thin, fragile structure. And yeah, I think eventually the whole hull will just collapse in on itself. So I'd say there will always be traces of it there. The propellers of the Titanic, I believe they're made of copper. So they don't really erode down there, so they'll be there forever. But during the last dive, we didn't get a lot of good footage of the stern, and I wish I could have seen that. But from what I've heard, the stern is in horrible, horrible shape. Jared, will you make a video on the USS Cyclops? Since she sank only 6 years later, she was a collier for the Navy and sunk in the Bermuda Triangle. Her wreckage still hasn't been found as far as I'm aware. Okay, I'm not familiar with that, but I will save that in my notes. USS Cyclops. I feel like I've heard that before. 1 second, everybody, while I say this. If I don't put these in my notes, then I will forget about it. Because you should see my notes. It's absolutely insane. Boom, there we go. Notes saved. Boom, ba, boom. Okay. Kevin, too, thank you. Any interest in diving Britannic? So creepy. Yes, I would love to dive Britannic someday. But honestly, the one thing you got to be careful about with diving the Britannic is the depth. You know, the Britannic's 400 feet down. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to acclimating, you know, going down to the wreck, Britannic is laying on her side around 400 feet. You get 2 minutes down to the wreck, about 30 or 40 minutes at the wreck, and then it takes 6 hours to come up. So maybe if I could do it in a submarine, so I wouldn't have to acclimate so much. Rachel, hey, my sister is here. Hi, sis. Bruh, Sam, you seem excited today. Well, I am excited. You know, we're back. We're active. The whole tea thing almost ruined my laptop. It is good to be back, guys. No tea spill ruining laptop will keep us away. Rachel Pence, hi, sis. Hi, sis. Rachel, everybody, man, I can't stop coughing. Everybody loved you in my last video. You know, you slipping that little sippy cup on me. How could you? Gail, hi, Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Jack, hi, Sam. My own prison. Hey, Sam, if you could have met and talked to anyone from the Titanic, who would it be? Thomas Andrews. Thomas Andrews. Molly Brown is my favorite passenger, but Thomas Andrews is who I would like to talk to the most, just because of his knowledge of the Olympic class. Joshua, why 6 hours to come up? Because of the bends. You know, when you go down that low, or that deep, like when you're that deep underwater, you know, your blood gets thicker because you've got water so much heavier than air. So you've got all this pressure pushing down on your body. And if you swim straight up, you know, your blood gets thicker to move oxygen at those depths. And if you come just straight up, you know, you can actually get, the bubbles can cause air like clots, you know. So you have to acclimate. You 30 minutes at the wreck or whatever, and then you swim up, you wait for your body to adjust, swim up, wait for your body to adjust, swim up, wait for your body to adjust. And then you keep doing that until you get to the surface. Don't quote me if it's 6 hours, but I know it's several hours. I was actually talking to a friend today, and we looked up the deepest dive in the world, and it was like 1,000 feet. And it took the guy like 12 hours to come up. He swam down 1,000 feet. Just think about that, 1,000 feet. Ugh, I can't imagine going down that deep. Tobia, hey Sam, should they make a horror movie about the Titanic as a ghost ship? Please don't. Please don't. Please don't do that. Ori, hey, it was me. Lol. Yep, it was you. James, my great-grandmother's name was Rose. That's awesome. 3207, wow. Excuse me. Matthew, dang. Whoa, we have 240 people in here. That's crazy. Excuse me. Britannic, oxygen also acts like a drug at those depths, and helium is usually mixed in. Yeah. If you don't know, the Britannic is actually on her side, and right where the bow slants. So basically, the Britannic went down, leaning to starboard, and then as she went deeper and deeper, she actually hit the bottom while the stern of the Britannic was still sticking up out of the water. So when she hit, the front of the ship, like right around here, buckled, and then she laid flat like that. And when that happened, there's actually an opening. Now, there's an opening into the ship right here. Now, I don't know if that's how he entered, but there was an expedition where they tried to go in and see if the watertight doors in the boiler rooms of Britannic were open. And anyway, something happened. It's like his mixture, he bumped into like a coal wheelbarrow or something. And anyway, it screwed up his mixture. And the guy almost died. They were able to save him, but like he called Mayday, and he was breathing in almost pure helium, like 80% helium. So his voice was very high pitched, and he's like, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And so think about it. He is 400 feet underwater inside of the Britannic. He's inside a ship, and he's breathing pure helium. I mean, ugh. Another super chat, 5 from Joseph. Thank you. Have you checked into the Titan project? I heard some mentioning of it a few weeks back in your chat. I'm the chair of this effort. Okay. The Titan project. I'm not familiar with the Titan project. I know about the book, The Wreck of the Titan, if that's what you're referring to. But as far as what you're talking about, I'm not sure. But thank you for the 5. Dylan, can you make a video on how the Titanic was discovered and her attempts to find her? I actually did make a video about how they found the Titanic, but I didn't go into the other expeditions before the ship was found. But I did make a dedicated video just for finding the ship. Let's see. Tyson, did William Murdoch really shoot himself? That's open for debate, but I don't think so. That whole conspiracy came from during the ship's final moments, or the last 10 minutes or so. The Titanic has its port list, and it's going down, and the water is just coming up the bridge wing. As the ship is slowly starting to go down, gunshots were heard from Murdoch's position, and that's all we know. That's it. No one saw him shoot himself. That was put into the movie just for dramatization. Primo, thank you for the 1. That was put in just for to make it more dramatic. But I don't remember where I heard it, but I saw a testimony that he was actually last seen fighting with Collapsible A, and he went into the water right as soon as the first funnel was dipping beneath the surface. So that's what I think happened to him. Shoot. Guy 10, thank you so much. Hi Sam, I made it to another live stream. Woohoo! Love the channel. Thanks, Guy. Thank you. Nicholas, hello. They should have checked the Britannic's grand staircase was still there. They really do need to, but it'd be really hard to see. It'd be really hard to see in there. But I really am curious as to what is the condition of the Britannic's grand staircase. ZGG, when are we getting Historic Travels merchandise? I need it. I've actually pushed that through the final steps today. Everything's getting verified, but merchandise. Historic Travels is getting merchandise. We've got t-shirts, we've got sweaters. We only have 1 design so far, but it's coming. We've got that all set. We're just going through the final verification stuff. Did I miss? We're going through the final verification stuff right now, but we will have merchandise very, very soon. Did I miss a? Yes, I got that. Thank you. Thank you for the help with that message, but I did get that super chat. Rem, what is your opinion on people who romanticize the Titanic? I don't mind it at all. I mean, it depends on what you mean by romanticize, but think about it. You know, the James Cameron movie is kind of romanticizing the ship a little bit. And Titanic is just, it's the perfect story. You know, it's got all the elements that make a very interesting story. You know, you've got this beautiful ship, people from all walks of life, and then this horrible tragedy happens. You know, it's something, the story of the Titanic is kind of like something that you would think is made up. You know, how could this possibly happen? You know, it almost doesn't seem like the Titanic is even possible that this event could have occurred. So in my Discord, we were actually talking, like, I think it was Ori again, but somebody asked me, like what ships do you think are underappreciated or overappreciated? And when you say if a ship's overappreciated, you know, you would think Titanic at first, but honestly, I think Titanic deserves everything it gets. And the whole Jack and Rose story, that's to make you care about the people. You know, you're not just watching a disaster unfold. You get to know Jack and Rose. That's why Jack had to die in the James Cameron film, not because he could have gotten on the door. We all know he could have fit on the door. But the reason that, you know, James Cameron wanted you to feel that loss, you know, so that was the whole Jack and Rose story. Joseph, another 5. Thank you. I'd be open to an interview. How could I reach you privately? Joseph, the best way to contact me is to reach out to me on Discord. There's a Discord link. I need to re-upload that. There is one in my community page. You'll just have to scroll back a bit, but that's the best way to contact me. Ori Panam, you better send me some merch. Titanic lover. Fox Starline here. The Little Good Doctor in Ghostbusters 2, there's a scene where ghost people exit the Titanic. You know, I've only ever seen Ghostbusters 2 once. The Ghostbusters video game is super good. I need to replay that. I've been meaning to replay Mass Effect. But yeah, Titanic's just, you know, people like to do things with it. Kara, hi from Michigan. I love Michigan. I'll be visiting Michigan probably in the very near future. I'll be visiting Michigan. I just finished my semester project on Titanic. The story will always be one to tell. I have so many questions left unanswered. Well, Kara, you're in the right place. Is it Kara or Kara? But you're in the right place. Feel free to join the Discord. We're always chit-chatting in there. Taylor, 5. Thank you. When was the forward part of Adec Promenade? Wait. When was the forward part of the Adec Promenade of Titanic enclosed? Actually, we've talked about that. We have actually talked about that in the only footage of Titanic. There's the only real footage of it. And when you look at the actual footage of the ship, the promenade is still open. So I actually asked some people about that as to when it was closed. And to be honest, I don't really know. But I think it happened somewhere in between, like, I believe it was between January and March. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm not 100% certain. This was a brief conversation we had a while back, but hang on a second, guys. Only footage of Titanic. You'll see what I'm going to post a link here because this looks like Olympic. You know, it looks, but it is 100% Titanic. And in this actual video, the A-deck promenade and stuff like all that, the promenade decks right here, they're still open. I believe it was it A-deck and B-deck? No, all B-decks enclosed. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so take a look at that. Jared, there's a grave in Halifax labeled J. Dawson for a fireman, but it was often mistaken as Jack. Yeah, a lot of people thought Jack was real. I believe his name was James Dawson. Rhodes, what is your favorite ship other than the Titanic? Ooh, Queen Mary. Julian, I actually had a project in my math class about the evolution of ocean liners. That's cool. Slot, hey Sam, thanks for the awesome content. Thanks, Slot. Let's see. Mateo, I know you talk about the Titanic stuff, but could you do a video on the Miracle on the Hudson? Oh, the Miracle on the Hudson. Yeah, the plane. Oh, that would be a great video. Talk about the bird strike and everything. Great idea. Great. I'm putting that in my notes. Miracle on the Hudson. Miracle on the Hudson. You know, a friend of mine, he's like a pilot, and he was like, it's a miracle that they landed that plane the way it did. Joseph 3, thank you. What is your contact on Discord? Just Historic Travels. It's the best way to contact me. Ian Kirby, have you seen A Night to Remember that included a black and white version of the Titanic 1997 split? They really did that? I have not. I wasn't even aware that they did that. Excellent. Can you do a video on the Carpathia? Yes, the Carpathia will be coming up soon. I will be talking about it in my Titanic series. Julian, did you ever think of doing aviation disasters? Yes, I am going to cover aviation disasters. Kara, I'm almost done reading On a Sea of Glass. So far, it's the best book on Titanic I've ever read. On a Sea of Glass is, in my opinion, the Bible on the Titanic. It is extremely good, extremely interesting. I'm trying to, for those of you who don't know, I'm currently trying to learn Japanese because I'm wanting to travel to Japan. So eventually, I'd like to be able to read this. Japanese is a very hard language to learn. Joshua, did the stern have a list after it broke and sunk? That is a big debate. Did the stern have a list after it broke off and sunk? I think it did. I think the stern did have a break. I did see Tom Linsky's new animation on how the stern went down, and it's very possible. You know, I was very impressed with that new animation that they had during the anniversary. In that animation, they show that the Titanic was actually breaking apart right around the third funnel, like you could or a little bit aft of it, like this whole section was crumbling. And the evidence for that is due to the pulverized zone on the debris field. If you go to the Titanic wreck, there's this huge clump of metal. There's this huge clump of metal just wrecked, you know, and they think that that's from where the Titanic broke into, like where the metal and everything got crunched. And I think that's very possible that the ship could have had like an open space right here, like where it was falling apart due to the breakup. We'll never know exactly what happened, but the way that Tom Linsky and his crew depicted the final plunge in his new animation, I think is the most accurate to date because it actually shows the stern go completely vertical and everything. And yes, my poor rudder is gone. My Titanic has lost a propeller and a rudder, super sad face. And it has another injury to report. It lost the tip of the bow too. Man, I'm telling you, this Titanic model's gone through so much abuse. See. Golden, why are there so many vents on the RMS Mauritania? And hello from Philadelphia, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. I'm actually not sure why they did that. I'm not super familiar with that class of ships, but I'll do some research into it. I'm not really sure why those ships had a lot of vents. Edward, get a new model. I would if I didn't have to wait 2 years to get it. I would have ordered a new model by now. Rachel Pence, LOL. Rachel, are you laughing at my singing skills? You should be like, Sam, you are the best singer ever. Gaming with Leo, Sam, whatever happened to the Titanic second class staircase? You know, I'm not sure. The second class staircase. Was the second class staircase the aft? Is that the official term? The second grand staircase? Was that dubbed the second class staircase? I'm not really sure. If it was that, I'm sure it got really destroyed when the break happened. Backyard garage is in the house. Millie, hi Sam. I'm sorry I'm late. Hi Millie, how are you today? Ready. When will the sinking of the RMS Titanic Part 5 be coming out? I started working on it today. I've got about 3 minutes of the video done. I am shooting to release it early tomorrow, but we will see. Worst case scenario, Tuesday, normal time. Let's see. Jack, can you please do a video on your model ship collection? Sure. It's not, I know everybody thinks like I have this massive model ship collection, but it's really nothing that, it's not anything that crazy. But I can do a model ship collection video at some point. Most of them are just small ships that I got on cruises and stuff, but I can do something sometime. Let's see. Elemento Gaming. Historic Travels. Did you think any of the Wilhelm Gustloff or Lusitania's lifeboats were saved? I know it's a dumb question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Don't ever say it's a dumb question. To be honest, I'm not sure. I'm sure that some of them were, but they'd just be repositioned or reapplied to other ships. So it's very hard to track lifeboats. Millie, I'm fine. Thank you. You're a sweetheart. Thanks, Millie. Lightsaber. Have you ever heard of the Princess Sophia tragedy? Princess Sophia. That name rings a bell, but no, I don't. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I feel like I've heard of something like that before. Sophia. I know that name. I feel a memory. You know, I'm really thinking that there was a memory there, but I can't figure out what it is. Taylor 5. Thank you so much. How well do you think Lusitania's design would have handled the damage Titanic had? Oh, it would have sunk. Lusitania would have sunk. What happened to Titanic was absolutely astronomical, the amount of damage. And Titanic was bigger than Lusitania quite significantly here. So these models are all 1/1000 scale. And I will hold these right up to each other. And you can see, like, look how much bigger Titanic is to Lusitania. So yeah, Lusitania would have dropped like a rock. Let's see, Tran, you got a dog? Yes, I do. Her name's Rosie. If so, can we see her? I will bring her out in a little bit. She's in the other room sleeping. Kendall, please do a what if video on if the Titanic had a lifeboat drill. I really love the Titanic videos. I am in Colorado. I heard the Titanic was going quick because of a what? Anyway, there was a lifeboat. There was a lifeboat drill on the Titanic. It happened while the ship was at sea. But the thing is, the reason they did have a lifeboat drill, and it was successful. You know, they did it with the officers and stuff. The whole crew wasn't part of it, but a good chunk of them were, like the officers were. Everything went fine. They did a good drill. But the reason they didn't do it on Sunday was because they were still breaking in the engines. The Titanic was cruising at a good speed, and they didn't want to stop the ship, do the lifeboat drill, like lower a lifeboat, pick it back up, and then cruise on. Like, when a ship is brand new like Titanic, they have to break her in. You know, they have to get the engines up and running. They have to get her, you know, think of it like putting on a new pair of shoes. You know, you have to wear shoes for a bit to get them broken in. Same deal with Titanic. They just didn't want to shut down the engines and do another drill, especially like church was going on, you know, everybody was occupied. They're like, we already did a drill. It's fine. So that was the logic. Up to, what would be like if all the passengers knew they were sinking? Would all the lifeboats be full or wrecked by the crowds? Yeah, there would have been massive panic. I talk about that in part 5. There would have been absolute massive panic on board the Titanic if they would have known the full scope of the situation early on, especially due to the fact they didn't have enough lifeboats. Captain Alex, will you add a channel banner to your channel? I think you will instantly hit 1 million. I need to make a channel banner. Rachel, if you're still in here, help me design a channel banner. I'm not an artist, but you are. Help me. We need a channel banner. The History Kid, can you do a Bismarck video? I am going to do it, but when I do the Bismarck, I'm going to cover the hood and the Bismarck in one video. Rachel Pence, haha. Rachel, I'll make you one. Rachel, you are an artist. You are an artiste. Let's see, Oliver, why did the Titanic need really big steering wheels? Honestly, I think it was just, I honestly don't know, but I guess it was just how they did it at the time, you know, because those ships were so big and these rudders are massive, you know, these rudders are huge. So you need to be able to get enough rotations in. Like, think about it. The wheel is so big, it takes more momentum to turn it. And it still takes a minute to turn the ship hard to starboard or port. If you've got a little tiny steering wheel and you're just like trying to do it like a car, think about how many rotations it would take to turn the ship's rudder. That's my educated guess, and I'm sticking with it. Danny, Rachel, I'll make one too, and we'll see who's better. Oh my gosh. We're going to have an art competition. Leak, what would you think would have happened if all the lifeboats were weak? And wait, what? What do you think would have happened if all the lifeboats were weak and if Titanic collided with the Lusitania? Depends on how they collided, but if there were a collision, I'd say both ships would survive. The lifeboats wouldn't really make a difference. Christian, have you ever thought about doing a video on the Andrea Gale story during the perfect storm? Yes, that's on the list. Critical, did he intend to sink a ship? Wait, what? The Little Good Doctor, did you see the 2 iceberg photos that claim to be the iceberg sunk by the Titanic? I've seen one. And I've heard that there's one where they think that there's paint on it, but the author of On a Sea of Glass doesn't think so. He thinks it's the one that looks like the Rock of Gibraltar. But I'm not really sure. I am not really sure about... you have to be careful about photos from that far back. You know what's absolutely crazy? People of our generation, you know, anybody who's alive right now, when we think about 100 years ago, we look at these old pictures in black and white and all that stuff and just try to imagine life 100 years ago. But think about 100 years from now. our great grandkids and stuff, they'll be able to just turn on a computer or whatever computers look like in the 2100 and see exactly what all of our lives were like 100 years ago. Isn't that a crazy thought? Everything's recorded these days. Brady, how come the Titanic didn't have enough lifeboats for all the ship's population? Because that wasn't normal at the time. You see, okay, that's one big thing about Titanic. Everybody likes to say Titanic didn't have enough lifeboats because the people had this religious faith in the ship, but ships not having enough lifeboats was very common. That was a very common thing back then. And the whole idea was lifeboats were not meant to evacuate a ship. Well, they were, but the idea wasn't to take the entire population of a ship and put them all in a lifeboat. That wasn't the point. The point was, if you have a ship like the Titanic that's in trouble and it's in the real busy, like North Atlantic shipping lanes, the idea was with wireless technology, there's always going to be ships around. There's always going to be another ship to come and help. So the idea was the Titanic in a disaster, it would be like the RMS Republic. The RMS Republic sunk a few years prior to Titanic. I forget which year. Everybody in the chat, what year did the Republic sink? I completely forgot. But anyway, the Republic took like 12 hours to go down. Don't quote me on that exactly, but it's a ridiculous amount of time. And they didn't have enough lifeboats either, but other ships responded and they were able to pull another ship, like say this is the Republic and this is another ship. The ships just pulled right up beside each other, and while the Republic is sinking, they just lowered lifeboats and took everybody off, and they got everybody off the ship as far as I know. Ori Panem, 1909, 1910, 1909, 1903, 1909. Okay. We got another super chat. Thank you, Jonathan. 10. Hey, Sam, quick question. Do you think Bartlett's plan to beach Britannic was a courageous or futile? Personally, I think it was courageous. Here's the deal. I think his plan might have worked if the porthole windows were not open, For those of you who don't know, the Britannic was very close to the island of Kia, and Captain Bartlett, he tried to beach the Britannic. But however, the forward motion of the Britannic just drove the bow deeper and deeper underwater and did greatly accelerate the sinking. He might have had a shot if the propellers weren't, or if the portholes weren't open. But still, with 6 compartments breached, the Britannic could stay afloat. No portholes open. The Britannic could stay afloat motionless. So if it wasn't moving, they could keep her afloat with 6 compartments breached. So maybe he should have just kept the ship stable. I mean, by moving the ship forward, he did definitely accelerate the sinking big time. So I think it was a good shot, but, we're talking about this in hindsight. We don't know what he's thinking at the time. CB Punk, 10. Thank you. Speaking of lifeboats, in the 1997 movie, there's a scene where Thomas Andrews says that he was overruled in making sure the Titanic had enough lifeboats because of the clutter on the deck. That is something that if you want to ask me if that actually was a thing or not, I don't know. If you know about, there's 3 people that were primarily in charge of the construction of the Olympic class. So Olympic, Titanic, Britannic. I'm waiting on my Olympic model. They were William Peary, Alexander Carlisle, and Thomas Andrews. And Alexander Carlisle actually got into an argument with William Peary over the whole lifeboat thing. So, and Thomas Andrews did design the Titanic to accommodate more lifeboats. I believe the Titanic could hold like 64 lifeboats, something like that. So it is possible that some people might have said that the deck would look too cluttered and stuff, but it wasn't, like I said earlier, it wasn't because they had this religious faith in the ship or anything. It was like they just didn't think they were necessary because another ship would come and save them. That's what it was. So is it possible, to answer your question, that they said that? Possibly. But it wasn't for the reasons that people think, like, oh, the Titanic is unsinkable, we don't need enough lifeboats. They had reasons for thinking what they did. Trent, how old are you, Sam? And if you don't want to tell us your real age, just tell us what your birth date is. I am 29 years old. August 28th, I will be 30. I'm coming up on the big 30. I can't pronounce your name, Mungil. Greetings from Brazil. Greetings from West Virginia. Up to, what if the Titanic had struck the berg around the foundered? Wait. What if the Titanic had struck the berg and foundered or stuck to it? Do you think it would have lasted long enough for it? I'm guessing if you mean, what if the Titanic struck the berg and, oh, got stuck to it? Okay, I see what you're saying. What if the Titanic got stuck to the berg? Maybe. That's one of those huge whatever. You know, the only way that could happen is if the iceberg A was strong enough to hold the Titanic, which is debatable, and if it kept the damaged parts out of the water. You know, you got to think about the Atlantic. You know, the Atlantic actually got stuck on the rocks, but as she took on water, the back of the Atlantic slid and went under. So, Brad, I just turned the big 3-7. Well, happy birthday, Brad. Everybody in the chat, wish Brad a happy birthday. Brad, happy birthday. Everybody in the chat, wish Brad a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Tyson, have you ever seen the Britannic movie? I've seen clips of it, but I haven't watched the movie. Titanic Gaming, happy birthday, happy birthday. Let's change something a bit. I'm gonna, since the chat seems to be kind of being okay, I'm going to reduce the live chat to 45. Boom. I decreased the chat time from 60 seconds to 45 seconds. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Tommy, do you know what type of activities third-class passengers had? I believe they were responsible for their own activities. There was a big party in third class, but it was all instruments that the third-class passengers brought on by themselves. Noob, do you remember me? I feel like I do. I feel like I've seen you before. Your picture, your profile picture. Happy birthday, Landon. Rest in peace, computer. Poor computer. Leak. If Titanic collided with the Olympic the same way as Edward Titanic of the Great Lakes, I think it would sink in an hour and 30 minutes. I actually don't know about that, Chip. I need to look it up. Man. Nicholas, Mr. Travels, you should do a video on the Oceanus. It's on the list. Leah, how did the Titanic crack? Well, I'm assuming you mean why did the Titanic break in two? Well, the biggest question is where exactly did the Titanic break into? Okay, we're good. The biggest question is where exactly. I mean, we know it broke into around the third funnel. I think it broke just in front of it because there is you can't really see it on the model, but right around here there's like a ventilation thing, so that makes sense that it would break right there. But it was just strain on the hull. You know, it was just strain and pressure on the hull. As the ship went down, it put more and more strain up here on the hull, and eventually the structure just failed. That's what happened. And due to the way of the engine, so you've got the bow wanting to pull down and make the stern rise up. You've got the engines in the back trying to hold the stern down, and yeah, the hull just couldn't take it. Christopher, what if Lightoller never ordered the gangway door to open? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Honestly, I think the D-deck gangway door accelerated the sinking by 30 minutes to an hour. I think the Titanic would have eventually developed a list of port due to Scotland Road flooding. But I think that was, yeah, it at least took 30 minutes to an hour away. Because if that door hadn't have been opened, then the water would have most likely had to come up the grand staircase before it could start flooding the dining room and stuff. But when that door went underwater and water could gush in like that, you know, it actually flowed down into the ship. Now, don't quote me on this, but yeah, the water would have been one deck below D deck. It would have been on E deck, I believe, at the time that the D deck gangway door went under. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think. Okay, Christian, what is your favorite deck on Titanic? Probably A deck, because that's where the grand staircase was. A deck? B deck? Yeah. KL, at least he's using his models. It's getting love. Yes, it is. Chris, are there reports from survivors that the Titanic broke up? If so, why didn't anyone believe them? Okay, Chris, that is a great question. And if you look at the testimony, most people believe it broke. You know, most people said the Titanic broke in half. Most passengers said the Titanic broke. But what the Board of Trade did was they chose to use the testimony from two people in particular. Lightoller said the Titanic didn't break. And I believe Archibald Gracie said the Titanic didn't break. And then most other people said that it broke. But you see, you got to think, where were these two people at the time? Lightoller was fighting for his life around the first funnel in collapsible B, you know, so He wasn't in a position to see what the stern was doing. And Archibald Gracie was holding on to a railing, trying to keep from being sucked into the grand staircase. Again, he wasn't in a position to see what the stern was doing. And the thing is, they wanted to romanticize it. And I think there was a little bit of a conspiracy going on there. You know, when the White Star Line actually heard that the Titanic broke in half, they didn't want that to happen. They didn't want people to start spreading that around. And if you take a look at, I think the expansion joint, you know, because they did change the design of the expansion joint from Titanic to Britannic. And I think I think it was a little bit of everything, you know. I think it was a little bit of everything. SFS military, could they raise the Britannic since it's in shallow water? They'd have to cut it up. The Britannic's huge. And it is shallow, sort of, but it's still 400 feet. So it's really, really deep. Let's see. Critical. You should do a video on the MS Express. I'm not familiar with that ship. I'll have to look into it. Let's see. Super. What happened to the laptop? Got wrecked with a big... You don't know what happened to the laptop? This is what happened to the laptop. I spilled tea on it. Nicholas, Sam, you should make a channel called Historic Gaming. Like what? I play old video game consoles or something? Lee, there's a book called The SS Titan from 1903. It talked about a ship that struck an iceberg and broke in half. I believe it was from, was it 1903? But yeah, you're talking about the wreck of the Titan. I'm going to do a video on that at some point. Anna, Sam, did you know 4th Officer Boxhall had his ashes scattered in the same position he calculated at night? Really? I've never heard that. Emerald, it hit an iceberg. Yeah, and all 16 watertight compartments breached. Andre, Sam, I'll ask again. Did Murdoch really kill himself on the deck? No, he did not. I talked about that in detail earlier in the stream. Jamie, would more people have survived the Titanic's watertight doors were taller? Possibly. If they went up to B deck, you know, maybe the Titanic wouldn't have sunk. It'd been similar to Titanic or Britannic. Millie, keep that glass away. For those of you who don't know, okay, so I hit this tablecloth, and like when I moved my when I went to get my power cable last week, I hit this tablecloth, and that caused my cup to spill. So I came up with a genius method. I brought a little desk over. So now if I hit the tablecloth, it doesn't touch the cups. So trust me, I'm not ruining this laptop. Critical. Who is the worst sea captain in your opinion? Captain Scatino. That is easy. Captain Scatino. Can't say his name. You know, I don't even think captain is the right word. From now on, if I say the word Captain Scatino, I'm going to say Coward Scatino. What do you all think? Coward Scatino. Captain's, oh gosh. I don't think he's not a captain in my book. No captain would behave like him. KL, hope this gets seen. Would you ever do a video about the animals of the Titanic? Yes, I am going to do a video on that. Gaming, haha, coward, yes. Oh gosh, that whole video from, have you guys seen that video from the coast of Concordia where the helicopter, where the guy from the Coast Guard is like yelling at him? He's like, Scatino, go up that ladder, get back on the ship. He's like, I'm going to coordinate it from down here. He's like, what are you coordinating? Get back on the ship. Ugh, gosh. I can't believe that a captain of a ship would act like that. I really can't. I really can't. Kendall, what if the Titanic had a lifeboat drill? It did have a lifeboat drill. And honestly, it really wouldn't have made, you know, the crew, while they weren't prepared really for the whole situation they were facing that night, they did a pretty good job, all things considered. Coward Scatino. Well, everybody's liking that Coward Scatino. Sophie, may I ask how old you are? I'm guessing 20 to 25. Oh, thank you, Sophie. I'm 29 years old. I'm about to turn the big 30. August 28th, I turned 30 years old. August 28th, 1991. Tratina, yes, Captain Gow. Didn't he get like 14 years in prison or something? Ronnie, did you know that about the padded room on the Titanic? I've heard something about that. I don't know much about it, but I do know it was in the pulverized zone. When I say pulverized zone, I'm referring to the area where the grand staircase blew apart and the Titanic broke in half. That's what I'm referring to. But I don't think they ever had to use it. Captain Alex, what about my title? Let's see. I cannot pronounce that name. Does anybody know how was the Titanic's rudder controlled? I believe it was steam powered. Do they still, Joshua, do they still make Titanic models at Honor and Glory? As far as I know, but I heard somebody say that they took the models off the store. I'm going to have to do a check on that. Christian, what if the Titanic was facing rough seas during the night it struck the iceberg? It would have sunk a lot faster. The only reason the whole Titanic survived as long as it did was because the ocean was so calm. You know, for all the things that went wrong on the Titanic that night, a lot of things did go right. And the things that went right saved 700 lives. So, RMS Titanic. I was looking for my phone and it was in my hand the whole time. Let's see. Captain Alex, instead of raising the Britannic, why not just drain the Britannic? Oh, gosh. Okay, everybody, we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. We are at 55 minutes, so I'm probably going to go another 10 to 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to wrap up the stream for the evening. So another 10 to 15 minutes, guys. X-Cam, not just Scatino. Arianos on the Oceanus was coward too. Oh, yeah. I don't know as much about him. I need to watch the video on it again. But yeah, didn't he get in the lifeboat and abandon ship too? Show. Don't want to sound rude, but Scatino literally means brute or animal in Russian. Seriously? Oren's from Southeast Asia. That's awesome, man. Thank you. I am in West Virginia. Sophie, I also love historical notification. I'm an old-fashioned girl. I wear clothing that seems as though it's comes from Victoria, Edwardian, and World War I era, occasionally the 15th century. That's awesome. You know, people who like to embrace the history and the old culture, you know, I think it keeps the memory alive. I saw this really cool video, this couple. I don't know where they live, but they were talking about how they live their lives like they're from the 1950s. You know, she wears 1950s clothes, 50s diner, all their furniture is 50s. It's really cool. And I saw another couple that did the same thing with, you know, early 1900s. Taylor, another 5. I'm going to go broke doing this over and over, lol. Yet I'm curious, do you have the SS Neuronic on your list for a future video? Did we talk about that? The SS Neuronic. I feel like we talked about that earlier. I believe I did put that on the list. SS Neuronic, let's see. Neuronic was a cargo ship of the Harlan and Wolfville passes. Didn't we talk about that earlier? But yeah, I'm not sure. Fate, she disappeared. Oh yeah, she went to the Bermuda Triangle, right? But I will make sure it's on the list. Neuronic. I feel like we did talk about that earlier. Yeah, we did. I found it in the notes. But yeah, we will. That is on the list, and we will make a video about it. And also, Taylor, I'm going to go, bro. If you thank you for the donations, man, but don't put yourself in a bind. But thank you so much. Poland, what do you think if the Titanic wreck site was made into an underwater museum? I like history. I love museums, but even if they had a way to do it, which I don't know how you would at 2.5 miles, a lot of people do not care about history. You know, a lot of people are very reckless with it, you know, and if there would have to be very strict guidelines in place, but people going down there and just the submarines going down and looking at the Titanic have damaged the wreck, you know, so I mean, I'd love to be able to see the Titanic with my own eyes someday, but you've got to be careful. You really do have to be careful. Joshua, did Captain Smith have last moments? Yes. I believe he was last seen with Thomas Andrews on the bridge wing. And as the bridge of the Titanic was going underwater, Smith said to Andrews, there's no sense in waiting any longer. She's going. And Captain Smith and Thomas Andrews were last seen going over the bridge wing and into the ocean. Oh, there was a $10 super chat. I'm so sorry I didn't see it. I'm glad I have somebody helping me do these. Chris, 10, thank you so much. Miss says that if Murdoch had hit the berg head-on, the ship would have stayed afloat. Considering the numerous injuries, deaths that would have resulted from a head-on crash, could he even justify this? Okay. Good question. And I've talked about this several times, and I'm sorry for missing your chat until now. If the Titanic would have hit the iceberg head-on at 21 knots, I think the Titanic would have sunk really quick. Because just think about how massive this ship is, okay? Traveling at 21 knots, it sees a giant iceberg, and it slams into it at full speed. And the thing is, icebergs are very unpredictable structures. And you can have some that are extremely light and extremely fragile, and you can have some that are very thick and very strong. And I think the one that Titanic hit was a strong one, considering the damage it did to Titanic. And if it would have hit the berg at that speed, it's like you said in your chat, everybody inside the Titanic would get launched forward due to the sudden stopping. And I think the Titanic would have suffered massive, and I mean massive, structural damage. And I think that just the whole ship structure would have broken. I think she would have hit the berg, and then she just would have dropped. That's what I think would have happened. She would have had a massive structural failure, and that would have been it. Now, if they could have slowed the ship down, if they could reverse the engines and then slowly slow the ship down before it hit the berg, and maybe hit the berg at 5 to 10 knots, maybe she could have survived. But the one thing you have to remember, we're talking about all this stuff 109 years later. When you're Murdoch on the bridge, you've got 30 seconds. So, and honestly, I mean, nobody that I can think of would go, let's hit it head on. Let's try to turn, That's just something that we think about in retrospect because we know what the outcome is, Let's see. We got 2 more super chats. James 5, thank you so much. Hi, Sam. Just curious if you have an interest in planes as well. And would you consider making a video on famous aircraft? I do like airplanes. I would love to be a pilot someday, privately. And yes, I am going to move into aviation at some point. And thank you for the 5. Backyard Garage 5. You should do a fan trip to a Titanic museum. Backyard Garage, that is a spoiler for an upcoming video. There is something going on with... let's see, spoiler alert. I'm actually working on a Titanic museum concept right now. There's nothing set in stone yet, but there is something in the works. Guy 10, thank you so much. Someone asked, do you think Captain Smith or any other crew members would have been prosecuted if they had survived and were held responsible for the disaster? No, not really. I mean, based on their actions that night, if Captain Smith would have somehow survived the sinking due to the fact that, he went down with the ship, or he was on the ship till the end, no, I don't think he would have been prosecuted. I think the whole thing was just a giant mess. Look at Lightoller. Lightoller was the senior officer surviving. Now, he wasn't on duty at the time. I would say if anybody would, but now it's easy for us to say, thinking about the laws and regulations for the time, but during an inquiry, they want to blame someone, look what they did to Captain Turner with the Lusitania, the Captain Turner had so many, they tried to say Captain Turner didn't do his job right with the Lusitania, and that's why it got torpedoed. He didn't listen to the Admiralty's warnings, et cetera, when really he didn't get the warnings, So they changed things around to make him look bad, to protect the reputation of the Admiralty, the British Admiralty. So I don't know. That's just, you're getting into politics there. I would like to think that they wouldn't, but I don't think they did Captain Turner right, that's for sure. Brandon, what is your opinion on the actions of Bruce Ismay? Okay. Man, a lot of deep questions tonight. Mike, good day from the UK. Hi, Mike. I don't think Bruce Ismay was a villain. He did help passenger escape, and he did not leave the Titanic until around 2 a.m. He was on one of the last lifeboats to leave the ship. But he didn't look good. The guy who's the head of the line. The guy who's the head of the line and everything, and oh wait, Lewis 5, thank you so much. I don't see a question, but thank you for the super chat. He just didn't look good, and due to the fact that he left the ship, he didn't get his feet wet, and then he tried to immediately book passage back to England right after the Carpathia ride in New York. I get it, and due to his actions that night and leaving the ship, I can understand why he got that whole reputation, but I don't think he deserves all the hate that he gets. That's my opinion, because he did help people escape. And you got to remember, he wasn't a sailor. He was a businessman. So, but it's not like he was on the bridge going, we have to speed up. We have to go to New York. We have to do all this. He wasn't doing that. And even if he was, the captain wouldn't listen to him. The captain took his duties very seriously. And Ismay being right there running his mouth, Captain Smith wouldn't do that. That's something that's actually gotten spread around from documentaries and stuff in recent years. Honestly, even though Ismay did survive the sinking, I feel like in a way he did die that night, in his own way. I don't think he deserves all the hate he got, but I can understand how it happened. I hope that makes sense. Bruh, it was Britannic Honor and Glory clock on the Grand Staircase different from the Olympic and Titanic? I haven't given a good look at it, but I will take a look. Santiago, he was portrayed like that in the Nazi Titanic. Really? I didn't know that. I haven't seen that. Let's see. Ori Paynem, Historic Travels. If everything went right, through was still going to sink. How long do you think it would wait? If everything went right, through was still going to sink. I lost your question. How long was it going to take to sink? If everything went right, through was going to sink. I'm not really sure what you're asking, Ori Paynem. I have to think about it. Okay, Rodrigo. Hi, Sam. Do you think Britannic would survive? Hang on, boom. Okay. I completely lost that question. Oh, hi, Sam. Do you think Britannic would survive up to after World War II, just like Aquitania? Yes, I do. I think it would have made it at that point. Josh, another 5. Thank you. William Carter deserved any flack. He was the abuser and left his wife and children during the sinking. William Carter, I actually do not know about him. I'll have to do some research into him, but thank you for the 5. I don't know his story. You got me. You got me on that one. Aeroflash, Store Travels. I missed the past few live streams, so I have some catching up to do, especially on the whole laptop situation. Yeah, a bunch of tea hit the laptop and kind of fried it. All right, everybody. We are at 1 hour and 5 minutes, so I'm going to take 1 or 2 more questions, and then we are going to conclude the live stream for tonight. ZGG, never going to give you up, never going to let you down. Lawrence, statistically, of all the demographics on board, which group was most likely to survive? Honestly, first and second class, just due to the fact that they could get to the lifeboats the quickest. And it wasn't like they were trying to keep third class away from the boats or anything. It's just that they were closer to the boats and they could get up to the deck quicker. You know, that's how it was. Gordon, you sound like you're from the South. I'm from West Virginia. John, was the Titanic a submarine? No. Elemental, are you going to do a video on any of these ships? Because their stories are pretty cool. Andrea Doria, yes. Empress of Ireland, yes. RMS Porcupine, I'm not familiar with that. Costa Concordia, yes. Porcupine, I will look into. Okay, 1 more question, guys, and then I am going to conclude the live stream for tonight. Guy, 5, thank you so much, man. I agree with you about Ismay. Sam, thank you for all your videos on the Sunday live stream. Thanks so much, Guy. Okay, Stewie, thanks, Sam, for all your info and the story of history. Love your channel. Keep it up, bro. Millie, you should make a video about the con artists of the Titanic. Pierce, Mason, and Isabel, I think they were. I've actually never heard of them. But okay, Millie, I am going to save this. That might be a good video topic. I'm going to put that into my notes. You guys got me twice tonight. Let's see, paste that. Thank you, Millie. I will look into that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's do 1 more question. Let's do 1 more question. One more. Let's see. Christian, have you ever heard of the Romanian Republican paddle steamer? If not, it was built in 1903 and is still floating. Not working properly. It's a really cool ship. I haven't heard about it, but I'm definitely interested in it. Okay, Historic Travels. What I mean is if like the gangway door was closed and other things. Oh, like how the sinking would have progressed if the gangway door was closed. Essentially, I think the gangway door would the ship would still broken into, in my opinion. The gangway door just accelerated the sinking. But I think that the gangway door being closed, the Titanic would have still sunk in a very similar way. I just think the gangway door made it go faster. So I still think the stern would have broken. I think everything would have happened just the same way. It just would have taken a little bit longer. Titanic, I think, lost 30 minutes to an hour because of that door being open. Derek 5, thank you so much. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Titanic Gaming, hey, answer please. Do you think the Titanic barely making it past its inspections? I've never heard that it had any issues during its inspections. I know they were kind of in a hurry during the sea trials, but I didn't know that. I've never heard that it barely cleared or anything. I've never heard that. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching. This was a great live stream. You guys are awesome. The questions are awesome. The live streams are going to continue every Sunday at 7:30, and I'm going to be posting a video announcement very soon to the merchandise for Historic Travels that's about to come out. We're going to have some shirts, sweaters, and maybe even some hats before too long. So we're going to be doing all that. And yeah, guys, okay, so just tune back in at 7:30 on Sunday. That's going to be the regular time for the live streams from here on out. And yeah, everything's good. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. It was a ton of fun. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for all the super chats. Everybody here is awesome. You guys are awesome. All right, everybody. Well, hey, y'all stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again for being here.